Hi guys, welcome back to another wonderful episode of 15 Minutes of Fame. Thank you again for joining in. Here in this beautiful world, we meet industry professionals, some of my friends, or some are people who I just met, but I want to introduce them to you. Before we do, I want to talk about our wonderful sponsors that we have helping me support the show, and that is InStyle Dancewear. They are in Orlando, and they have a 15% discount for this month. Anything pink, and also if you purchase anything with on the accessory list, so you get 15% off. That's for the month of October. Our other sponsor, who we love so much, is All Things Centered, and she produces wonderful oil. Put on, yes, for our dancers. Gives you energy, and also foot scrub, and it's called All Things Centered, and she is a wonderful sponsor. And Mr. Tuffy, when you come on, you will be getting some of this for you and your beautiful daughter. And last but not least, our dear friend to the show, Miss Toria Dixon. She's an attorney in New York, and if you have a slip or fall, you have a divorce, don't want that, but if it happens, or immigration, please contact her at 516-481-2100. So, without further ado, let's get on with the show. Kevin, hit Tuffy. Bam. Hey. Work. Go. Say, we're Bronx now. We're in the Bronx now. We're in the Bronx. Go. Before he starts cursing, look. Let me turn off before the cursing happens. Tuffy! What it do? Oh!
That's some Bronx.
Welcome. Oh my God.
An honor.
America and beyond. Mr. Tuffy, the most amazing person you ever want to meet. Casting director, vocalist, director, actor, dad. I think I might have catch them all. If not, please tell us who Tuffy is.
You basically just said all the best ones. My favorite ones are dad, vocalist. I mean, I love what I do. I thank God for the voice. I thank God for the abilities. I thank God for the love in my heart for people. Yeah, you covered it all. Tuffy is just an artist who loves the Lord and loves his family and loves people. And I do my best to give of myself in everything I do.
I can attest to that. You do. You've been giving as long as I've known you. So for the audience, let's start from the beginning. So they can, I know about you, but they don't. So as a vocalist, let's start there. When did you know, like at what age did you recognize you had that gift?
Well, I was raised by two singers. My mom and dad sang as a family. We've sung at weddings, funerals, events. I have the earliest recordings of me singing is I'm 3 years old. My favorite song at that point was I wanna go outside in the rain. It may sound crazy, but I wanna go. And I have a recording of me singing that at 3 years old, which is really cute.
I wish I had known. I would have asked for that clip. Was there anybody famous in your family as well? Like when you started?
My mom recorded doo-wop records when she was younger. She was with a group called the Tiffany's. She was with another group called the Decoys. And you can actually Google her music. It's on YouTube. She did some nice stuff. She was, because of the Square Records, which wasn't really the label she needed to be on, they had other vocalists were doing bigger things, so they kind of put her to the back. But my mom, if you want to understand the kind of voice my mom has, she sounds a lot like Gladys Knight. A lot like Gladys.
That's my dad's favorite vocalist ever. Yeah.
Hi,
Mom. I know. I think she's watching. We love you, son.
Love you, Mom.
I know. So, okay, so I remember reading in your bio that you kind of started working early in the industry. Do you recall your first audition And then do you recall what the job was for?
Wow. My first audition was probably for, I want to use the words properly. I was probably 7 or 8 years old. It was for a television film, and I had to be a mentally and physically challenged child. So I had to talk with a slur. I had to walk with a limp, and I was supposed to be what at the time was not called autistic, but I was supposed to be a child with autism. And it was interesting. I tell often in my early growing as an actor. My mom and dad were big Yankee fans from the Bronx, and my dad used to get these cards from Con Edison that allowed you to go to Yankee Stadium. So in order to go to Yankee Stadium and have these cards with free tickets, it was for 2 adults and 10 children. You had to be underprivileged or physically or mentally challenged. So we weren't either. So my dad and his friend Bob would get 10 kids from the neighborhood and we would go to the games. But I would walk like I was, and I don't want to use the word, I would say not all 100%. Like I would be very loud and indignant, and I didn't want to, I don't want to use the word retarded because that's not the right word. Mm-hmm. But it was that was the word in the 70s when I was a kid. And I still hate that word, but I was challenged. So I would use that as an audition process for me. We would go to games and I would walk from 3 blocks away and I would walk with a limp and I would scream out, "Daddy!" and just different things as my audition process. So I used all of that for this audition. They ended up going with a more Spanish looking kid because they said I was they needed him to be more light skinned, closer to white, but not white.
Okay.
And I wasn't it. But
so
yeah,
typecasting pretty much. So
early on, yeah.
Then from back then to now, because that was my next question in the casting industry. Has it changed much? But if it has not, anything?
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, like, has it changed any bit?
Some things have changed. There are more projects that cover more ground when it comes to our complexion. But being younger, I was either too light to be considered black or too dark to be considered anything else. So I lost a lot of work because of that. I was too big to be non-threatening and not big enough to be the right size for the intimidating black guy. That's today, but there is more work out there for people of color. So we're thankful for that. Hollywood is finally seeing the road to seeing things better.
Your hair type, I don't remember. Is it the coily? Is it the curly, long?
Well, right now, it was. I used to have the afro. I'm pretty bald right now, except for the fact that they got me growing hair for this film I'm doing right now here in New Mexico. But normally, yes, it was pretty curly. I had a big fat afro. I miss those days. In high school, I probably had a little shorter haircut, like a short afro, because I wanted to. When you have a big afro, unless girls really like you, they don't play with that. A short afro, girls will play with your hair. That's I'm gonna keep it real.
I was trying to ask you more on the casting director sense, like if they were gonna ever ask you to like straighten your hair to make you look less, like that's where I was kind of going.
Oh, yes, they have asked me.
You're like with the girls, Ma, he must have been a mess, Mommy. Oh my God.
I wasn't. I'll be honest, I was a mess. I was young, I was impressionable. I thought I was Billy D, and come to find Billy D was a mess, so I was a mess too. I think that with casting, they always want you to be as non-threatening as possible, unless you're a pimp or a drug dealer or whatever the case may be. But because my hair was too long to be a judge and too short to be other things, I decided to bring it down to the baldy. And as a baldy, I got more judges, and then I let the grays come in. So I would get judges, I would get attorneys, I would get, roles of social climbing. But it all depends. Yeah. Right.
Okay, so now you are, let's say you're in middle school.
Yes.
And you have this voice and you have this talent, and you find out about Music and Art High School. So can you tell the audience, for the people who do not know about Music and Art, what that is? What is Music and Art High School?
Music and Art High School is somewhat like the name of your show, Fame. The TV show Fame was, and the film Fame was based on what Music and Art High School was about. And I was fortunate because my sister was in music and art. So that's what where my true love came for it. And I couldn't decide between acting and singing because I love them both so much. It was either PA or M&A. And they were both two of the greatest art schools in the history of high school, without a doubt. If you watch the movie, I love PA. I love PA. And I was on set as a kid when they were shooting Fame. I was down by PA when they were shooting the dance scene in the street. And it was funny because this is when I realized I also didn't like girls who smoked cigarettes. Irene Cara was on set, and on the break, she was smoking a cigarette. And she came and she sat down next to me on a stoop. And she was like, "Hey, baby, can you watch my shoes?" She put her shoes between my legs on the stoop. And she took her shoes off because she was dancing in the street. So it was a break they had.
Did you know her at that time?
Not even a little bit. I was sitting there with my sister, just watching. And I've always had the gift of gab. I walk on a set and act like I belong. So even as a kid, I did that. But I'm sitting there. She walks over to me. She puts her shoes between my legs on the stoop, and then she kisses my cheek. But it was wet and it smelled like cigarettes. And I was like,
yeah.
Ew.
So you've never smoked at all in all your entire life?
Not cigarettes.
Mom is listening.
My mom knows. I admitted the truth to my mom. There was a time.
But as a singer, you're not supposed to. Yeah, supposed to take care.
And I have, basically. I mean, if that's the case, you're not supposed to drink milk, but I love milk in my cereal. Milk problems on the vocal cords, but I love what I love. And when I was younger, I smoked a lot of weed.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I have a lot of kids that watch this show. So we are, smoking's no good. Okay, so you decide you want to go. Say that again?
Yeah. It changes how you think, how you act, how you react. So it's not a good idea.
I agree. Okay, so you make a decision, you go to Music and Art.
Yes.
Right? Do you remember the song that you auditioned for to get in?
I sang 2 songs. My sister told me about Caro Mio Ben, which was a song that you had to learn as a freshman. So I learned a piece of that. Caro mio ben, credimi almen, senza di te languisce il cor. And then I sang Stevie Wonder. Lately I have had the strangest feeling with no vivid reason here to find. And the thing I did differently was I played it on the piano and sang it. So that was a little more impressive. I got a 98 for music and art, and I got a 78 or an 88 for performing arts. And I chose music and art.
Wow. So I didn't know you said, if I heard you correctly, you said you played the piano?
I did. I played the piano for my audition. So I thought that would be impressive. I thought it was, I don't think a lot of kids did that. So I asked them if I could use the piano in the room.
Okay. So I didn't know that part. Do you play any other instruments?
I do not. I learned to play the piano so I can teach parts in high school and college. I like to teach harmonies and in church.
Were you in the gospel choir when you were in high school?
All 4 years, yes.
All 4. Now, who was the director again? I know each year it changed, but who was it?
When I did it was Victor Cook. We also had Cassandra Balance. We had Sean Crawford, my junior or senior year. God rest the dead. We miss you, Sean. And we also had, I guess, Jafon Davis, kind of sort of Jiffy. Jiffy helped a lot.
Jiffy, yes. Oh my, are you in touch with any of those friends from high school?
I do. I talked to quite a few of them. When we had the reunion for the 30th anniversary, it was great. We all hooked up. But I talked to Victor still. I talked to Jiffy mostly online, social media, because she's always traveling the world.
Wow.
And I haven't spoken to Cassandra in a while, but she's good. I know they're all good. I keep up with them. A lot of high school friends.
I had Maurice on the show. Like, he was my second guest. And he said hello.
Yes.
by the way.
I love
He's amazing. He was
more.
our Luther Vandross at that time.
I feel like
I
we're both
mean,
doing it now. Have you seen him lately?
I didn't hear you.
I feel like we're both doing a gray beard right now. His beard is a little grayer than mine. I love Maurice.
So now, okay, so now you're in, okay, by the way, so that's in Harlem. So you're in the Bronx. How long did it take you to get to M&A every day, coming from the Bronx?
If I took the train, it was less. If I took the bus, it was more. And when I was in Harlem, it was easy to get to. When they moved downtown to Lincoln Center, it got harder.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, LaGuardia. And that's how we met when PA and M&A merged. That was an interesting time. What were your expectations?
Wow. I expected to meet a lot more people. I expected to spend a lot more time in the city. I had gone to the city with friends to watch movies, but I had never gone to the city for school. So that was very different. And downtown versus Harlem.
The real deal. Lincoln Center, Juilliard, concrete building,
right.
Elevator, 8 floors.
Scary. Amazing. Security card.
Right.
You know,
remember the line to get in was crazy.
Yes. If you didn't get there at the right time, you were late.
God.
And
then I always remember seeing you after school, you and your friend, Mr. Said, he'll be on soon, at the corner, and everybody was surrounding you guys. I mean, it was like they just gravitated towards you. It was like you and Cedric, and then everybody was around. It's just amazing. Your energy, you and him have that energy, and you still have it to this day.
God is good. That's all God. Even when I wasn't following or listening to God back then, I was still very nestled in his arms. For that.
Also, you stayed in the church throughout all of like high school. Okay.
I was raised in the church. I stay in the church. I right now I'm still constantly a part of my church's production team. We had meetings this morning. I love my church. I now go to Life Together Fellowship. I was part of the choir up until I started traveling for work. But yes, I'm very active in the church.
Do you think you have the calling to be a pastor? I'm just asking. I'm not pushing. Just asking.
I love that question. I think about it often. I've been asked that question before, mostly by family and people from church. And I do feel like sometimes he wants me to do that. But I think he wants me to be the director of music first, because he knows where my heart and my passion lie, and helping others to find their way. So yeah, I would do that. I would have to talk to Maurice first.
Oh, yes. Maybe y'all could do a collaboration, like a gospel. That'll be interesting, which we'll get to in a minute. Yes, I want to finish up with high school. I want to talk about cabaret night. Do you remember cabaret night?
I love cabaret. I was never asked.
Let everybody know what cabaret night is.
I still talk to a lot of my PA people. Cabaret night was so much fun because it was a different freedom from most. It was the ability to bring it to the stage and laugh with your comrades. It was the beginning of comrades in arts for me. Yes. I loved it. Yeah. I wish cabaret night still to this day.
Were you rapping then, or were you singing? What did you guys do?
Always singing. I couldn't rap a gift. I could write. I didn't have the intensity in my voice to do it, but I definitely love to sing. I've been singing all my life.
And it was like the Apollo. I tell you, they would, if it was a whack, they would let you know. It was just terrible. Oh my God. These are the things that I love so much about our school. So creative. Remember, like Halloween, it was like West 4th Street. They would go, the artists, these guys, let me tell you, they would just go all out. Amazing. Yes. It's nothing like LaGuardia anywhere.
To me, LaGuardia High School was kind of like summer camp when you don't want to leave, but we did it for 4 years and it was great.
Yes.
It was really great. Some of the best times.
Let me think. I mean, I know in the dance world, we've gone on and become professionals. How about in the vocal department? Who from our school that you would know that have gone on to success?
The funny thing is a lot of us have gone on in different areas of entertainment. Tashina Arnold is doing very well as an actress and a singer still. Jiffy's doing very well as a vocalist. Maurice does very well as a vocalist. He's released a few songs, and he's working on another album, I was told, both in gospel and in R&B.
Yes.
I think of different people. There's so many. We have a lot of instrumentalists who are doing very well. Names are slipping me at the moment, but there's so many different people who have.
So Jiffy, is she a soloist, background singer? What is she?
She's a soloist. She has hit records across the country, mostly in Europe. Does that sound? Can you hear me?
You're kind of breaking up.
I hear it. It sounds crazy. I don't know what that signal is. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Jiffy has released songs overseas. She's doing really, really well.
All right. Well, please let her know I said hello. She was another popular person.
She was,
okay, so
definitely.
we're done with this singing, and then all of a sudden, you're in casting. And I say all of a sudden because I remember standing on this very, very long line with my girlfriend, Toria, for the Cosby Show. And it was you and Sid, and we were at the back of the line, and I saw you, and I'm like, hey, that's Tuffy. And like, you know, you said hello, of course. You gave us a hug, and you let us skip the line. Hence, I Know Tuffy t-shirt that I talked to you about before. I need that t-shirt. Guys, get a t-shirt that says I Know Tuffy, and you will get it any place. And yeah, for extras. And then I was like, how did this happen? So now I get to, how did that happen? How do you get into casting?
I got into casting because so many friends of mine who weren't getting opportunities. I started in casting as a talent coordinator back in the 80s, actually. My sister worked for a company called WPIX, which is Channel 11 in New York. And she worked with two producers who were Ralph McDaniels and Lionel Martin. And they started a company called Classic Concepts. They one day asked me to be an extra in 1987 on a music video shortly after high school. And I was like, whatever you need. And they were like, do you have any friends who might want to be in it? I was like, how many friends do you need? And they said, we need about 11 people to be in this scene. So I was like, that's all? Really? 11? And they were like, how many can you get? I was like, what do you need? Give me a number. So they said, can you get us 20 people? So what I did was, you know, you called one person, you're talking to 7 people. So I called 7 people, and 50 people showed up to work as extras. And it was just word of mouth. When they saw these people and they brought outfits, because I told them dress for a club, dress for a party, dress for an after party, and dress for the street. So they all brought outfits. They rolled up in cars. You know, that's what it was in the Bronx. You just have, or wherever you lived, you had people who did what you needed them to do. And I was like, you're going to be on TV. They were like, what? So they all showed up. They parked outside. They loud music, ghetto as heck. But Ralph and Lionel were like, yo, Tuffy is something we need in our company. Offered me a job. That was a song called Ooh Girl, Davey DMX for Def Jam Records. If you look at the music video, you can see me and my friends dancing. And then a month and a half later, they did a music video for Heavy D. And Hev was my boy. So working on that was just fun. Putting people in Hev's video was easy. That was just like, call Mount Vernon, tell everybody we're working for Heavy D. They all show up.
Wow.
And that's what relationship. So it really just, it happened on its own. It happened very organically. And I was grateful and I got good at it. Casting was easy, or talent coordinating at that point, because they didn't call us casting directors yet. Because I was doing documentaries and EPKs. Great. It was great. There are not too many music videos from the 80s and 90s that I did not.
Okay. So at one point, were you working with Winsome Sinclair? Because I think I remember that at one point. She's huge. So name some movies. That was a video. So name some movies that you actually worked with.
I did Summer of Sin. I did a bunch
fan, by the way. I'm like fanning out right now.
Thank you. I love you, Dawn. I hope the world knows that I love Dawn. And her husband and her kids and her students. I love all of y'all. Dawn Branch works. I'm all about it.
Thank you.
The first film I worked on as a casting director was Summer of Sam. I did Summer of Sam, and then I did Spike Lee. I did Bamboozled. I did 25th Hour. I did the next 4 or 5 films for Spike. And then I did a TV show for Sidney Lumet called 100 Center Street, which was the first original programming for A&E. And then it just kept going from there. I just kept doing shows after shows. And back then, matter of fact, the producer I'm working with right now on this project here in New Mexico, he and I met back then, and he was like, listen, nobody knows you. Giving you credit is not going to make you a star, but I can double your pay. And I was like, I like that. Let's get that happen. So where my rate might have been $2,000 a week, I was making $4,000 on movies I was doing for him, and I was doing well. So I was making really good money. I was shooting all these films. I did American Gangster. I did True Blue. I did so many different projects over the years. Get Rich or Die Trying. Just kept doing movie after movie after movie, and then TV shows, and then shorts, and it was just great. I just can't. Right now, I'm in New Mexico doing a film called The Harder They Fall, which you can see right there. It's a film for Netflix. I'm very blessed. God has been really good to me.
Love Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix is great. Great.
So,
they really are.
A lot of my audience are they're young in the entertainment. So you had mentioned money, right? So you said, I can't give you second justice, but I can give you more money, but I can't give you the title, right? So let's talk about union versus non-union, because explain how that would work if you're in the union, but you're not doing what's required. Like, how is that allowed? Explain that.
There are ways around everything in this business. On the business, everyone sees the show, but they don't know about the business. The business is the big thing. It controls everything. You want credit. You want your name to be known for. Are we breaking up? Are we good?
Nope. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I'm new at this, so I'm not getting engaged. I'm like,
it's all good. When you have credit for the work you've done, you can be on IMDb, which is the Internet Movie Database, or SoundScan, or any of those things that are logistics of how people find out the work you've done. If you go on IMDb right now and you type in Tuffy Questell, you see the body of work that I've done. And then there are 40 projects that aren't on there. Sometimes the film didn't come out. I've worked on so many pilots and so many projects that just never got greenlit. But the work still happens. Being union as an actor, you want to be union because you get more money. You get what is known residuals. Residuals are sitting at home checks. I'll give you one example. A friend of mine was a day player. A day player is not a star, not a lead, but they have a line or they have a scene that gives them a little more status than the background or the extras. So a friend of mine was a day player on the movie The Titanic. He was in the scene right after the band says, "Let's keep on playing, chums." And he had one line. And he was on set for, I think he said 37 days. Because his one line didn't come until like the 38th day, he got a rider or a guarantee that he would get 37 days of work. Wow. So even though his line wasn't till the end, it happened. His guarantee was made. The line made the movie. So he got paid, let's say, 10 grand for the original work. But his first residual check was like $90,000 because the movie did so well. And he's gotten bigger checks than that because Titanic made millions of dollars. So, I mean, I've gotten residual checks for 51 cents. So things happen. You have no clue. If the project does well, you do well. If the project does nothing, you get nothing, except for the fact that you've done the work. So being union means the benefits are paid. Your benefits are paid, your pension and health is paid, and chances are you're going to get residuals. If you don't do non-union, like I've done some non-union work, or if you don't do union work, if you do non-union work, you usually get paid one fee, and that's it. You don't see any extras, no benefits, no residuals. So I did a commercial once that they played to death, and I should have made probably $60,000, $70,000 off of it. One commercial for 13 weeks is the full cycle. 13 weeks is about $30,000 to $40,000. So you want to do union work. You can make a lot of money. A friend of mine did a Heineken commercial and made $300,000 off of it. So you want to do union. He did a Heineken commercial. You can look it up on YouTube. I don't know what it's called, but he was walking his dog, and he had a big black hairy dog. And the sign on the bar said, free Heineken or something like that, but no dogs allowed. So he picked the dog up, he put it on his head, and he walked in like he was Jamaican. He was like, what's going on, man? Where Irie? Whatever he said, $300,000. It's hilarious. It's a great commercial. Wow. My boy Joe, one of my favorite actors.
I'm in the wrong business, I tell you that much. So that brings me over to the contract side of it all. So representation, no representation. How does a young, new, green, let's say actor, actress, get representation so that they can make better choices? Like where do you have to be in your career to get repped?
The easy and hard part of that question is this. Everyone can get a rep. You might not get the right rep. I say don't sign with anyone until they've proven that they can rep you well. I have an amazing manager. I love her very much. We pray together. She prays for my daughter. She calls me and sends me stuff and sends me out on great gigs. I love her so much. Matter of fact, I'll give you a great idea.
Call me.
Her name is Bobby. Amazing. She's in New Jersey. Bobby, she had me submit for a new show today. And when I sent it to her, she was like, oh my God, you lost weight. I was like, yeah, I've been working out. But I didn't tell her that. But the fact that she acknowledged that was beautiful for me. I love that. It felt really good. Managers and agents both get a different percentage. Managers tend to get 25%, sometimes 15%. Agents get 10 to 15%. Some people say, I'm not going to pay that kind of money. But if they're making you money, you won't feel the hurt of the loss.
Right.
They don't sign with an agent or a manager until you feel like they're doing something for you. Everything takes time, though. When I met, let's say, Kerry Washington, who everybody knows from Scandal. When I was shooting Summer of Sam, she was walking by. She was a young actress who was very excited. And she asked, hi, can I talk to the casting director? I happen to be that person. So we had a really great conversation. We became friends. We stayed in touch. And she had just come from acting class and was talking about she needed an agent. And I was like, you just do the work. The agents will come find you. Just trust the process. So do the work and the agent will find you. They will.
I love that. I love that. So LA versus New York and the different kind of work. So they say New York, Broadway, you stay in New York, LA, movies, videos. Is that still the same? Like, what do you suggest? What's the difference?
I think if you're in New York, from New York, and you have relationships in New York, why would you leave New York to try and make something else happen? Everything is a process. I think that some of the best processes, excuse me, are learning. If you don't take the time to learn, why would you move somewhere else? No one. LA is great for film, great for television, but everything in LA is fully relational. It's not just who you know, it's who knows you. So LA is different.
Can you say that one more time for the person in the back?
It's not just who you know, it's who knows you. It's huge. You can go to LA, audition for one casting director, and say something that upsets them, and they will blacklist you. And that's ugly. But that's how LA works. LA can be very, very, very vicious. But everything is relational. When you go to LA, you will bump into actors at restaurants, at hotels, at parties, and that's how you build relationships. It's not always about the agents or the casting directors. Sometimes it's just about being in the right place at the right time. I've been to LA. I bumped into major actors at FedEx. I bumped into major actors just on the road to me. I was driving down the road and Bill Murray's in the car next to me and he hit his gas and I looked at him, was like, what, you want to race? I need a girl here with a flag. I mean, he was hilarious. You just never know when the moment's going to happen. You have to be prepared for it. You got to be prepared for it. You can't, they always say, what do they say? Don't pack your bag, have your bag ready because you have to be ready to go. Don't get ready. You never know. You never know when it's going to come.
I'm glad you say you have to be prepared for it because my next question is video music box. Woo-hoo. Now, how did you prepare for that? And was there training involved? Like, is there a training camp you go to? Like, or they just like gave you the mic and was like, "Hey, go." Like, how did that happen?
It really was just like that. My 21st birthday,
Oh wait,
Ralph
I'm
began
sorry. Some people are not from New York. Tell
from
them
Video
about
Music.
Video Music Box and like what that was about.
Video Music Box was the blueprint that created MTV. MTV, that you watch all these music videos, you watch all these interviews, you watch all these news channels. Everything that happened on MTV started with what was happening on Video Music Box. We did the interviews, we did the music videos. Go ahead.
One more time.
What
I love to hear that.
you see on MTV started with the blueprint, which was Video Music Box. Ralph McDaniels, Lionel, myself, Crazy Sam. We really did some really off the wall things. We did skits. We interviewed artists. I just saw some video yesterday of me and Brandy singing a Christmas song from 1992. I mean, I have some amazing footage that I've been blessed to do. Ralph has 36,000 hours of footage that he's transferring right now to digital so he can create an app so people can see some of the old Video Music Box stuff. I did Nas's first interview. I did Brownstone's first interview. I did Wyclef's first video. I mean, I did interviews with artists. I've been very blessed to do some of the things that I've done. And for my 21st birthday, I was having a birthday party at a place called Kilimanjaro in the city. It was beautiful. And
I
Ralph
remember that place.
Kilimanjaro was great. They had a lot of dance parties there, like for dancers, like auditions.
Yep.
For my 21st birthday, Ralph was going to come and shoot, and we are going to have a great time. And I invited Salt and Pepper and Heavy D and all these people. So Ralph comes with his brother, his younger brother, Brian. Ralph gets to the door, and they're like, "Yeah, we know who you are, but who's this little dude?" Brian didn't have ID. He was like 17. So they were like, "Nah, he can't come in, Ralph. There's alcohol being served here. He can't come in." So Ralph had to take Brian home. So Ralph came in, he came to me, and he was like, "Listen, I can't stay. I got to take Brian home. So just interview your friends, have some fun. The cameraman is here. Do whatever you want to do." So that's what I did. I took the camera crew. They followed me around the party. I interviewed Salt and Pepper, Heavy D, Pete Rock. Pete Rock wasn't an artist yet. He was just Heavy's cousin. I interviewed Dana Dane from high school. You know, Dana Dane went to high school with us. And I interviewed Slick Rick, and I interviewed just a few different people. And then I interviewed my friends. And Ralph started getting letters. The show was fabulous. Great interviews. And because of the fact that they were my friends, I wasn't talking to them just about artistry. I was talking about things that I knew. Like, I'm talking to Pete Rock, and Pete is like, "Yeah, Tuff, I'm working on this song." And I was like, "Yo, what's up with that kid Corey?" Which was CL Smooth. And I knew certain things. And while I'm talking to Pete, Heavy D comes by over the interview, and he's like, "If Pete Rock wants to get a ride home, he better go." Like, it was just real natural, real matter-of-factly, and it was one of the best interviews I've ever done. It was just fun.
And how long did the whole show last? Like, I don't remember the length of it. Did it run like 10 years? Like, what was it?
When I was there for 13 years, Ralph still has, right now, it's on Thursdays and Fridays in New York, in the New York area. Last year was his 37th year. That's very proud of him.
I found him on Instagram. I watch him on Instagram Live now.
Yes.
Yeah.
He does a lot of great things.
So if it ever came back, would you be interested in hosting it again and being a part of that?
In a minute. I love Ralph.
Yes.
Listen, my CQ family is watching this right now. Club Quarantine and Derek D Nice is doing a lot of great stuff on Instagram. You know, Dawn. Our CQ family is here. They support all the time.
Yay, Ralph, CQ forever, CQ for life. Listen, my family is so sick of me and CQ, I can't even tell you. They're like, really?
I almost wore my Club Quarantine.
We love you, D Nice.
I think Derek has been such a huge part of Club Quarantine, of quarantine in general.
Real talk, like if he's on right now, we're cutting this in, like it's over. Like if I get an alert that he's on, see you later.
He was on a little while ago. I'm happy he's not on right now. That would be hilarious.
Just kidding.
Okay. I'm all about my. Yes.
I love you. Because we're not even done yet. Like so far, we went from kid movies to Video Music Box to casting directors working with Spike Lee and Winston Sinclair. And I haven't even talked about your own private albums or your music history journey. So let's do that. But before we do that, let me just give a quick shout out to my sponsors because they helped me. Thank you. So take 5 seconds. In Style Performance Wear, thank you again for helping to support 15 Minutes of Fame. You are a dancewear store in Orlando, Florida. And for this month, you're having 15% off sales for Breast Cancer Month. So if you purchase anything pink or any accessories, you will get 15% off. Also, we have our lovely All Things Centered. So my friend has created this wonderful product that I can't open right now, so I'll just put this to the side. Yes, but she does oils, nice scents, energy. This is for energy for dancers, and a foot scrub for your feet. And last but not least, my attorney friend from New York, who you know, Toria Dixon. Yes, she is a wonderful attorney, and she handles immigration, divorce. We don't want to talk about that, but it happens, and immigration. So her phone number is 516-481-2100 if you need an attorney. Now back to Tuffy.
I needed Toria years ago. I've been sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Divorce, family court, it sucks. If you're having marriage problems, fix it or call Toria. Stop playing. That's my best advice. Marriage is hard, but divorce is harder. Trust me.
I'm off topic for a quick second, though. As a Christian, right?
Yes.
How did you get through that? Because, like, a lot of people in the church stay because you have to stay. So how did you get out of that? Like, well, I mean, I shouldn't say like that.
No, I have a problem. I'm very honest and transparent. I don't believe in divorce. I don't, but I also don't believe in adultery. And when she chose to walk out, I'm not gonna force her to stay. I gave her a year to figure it out. Go out there, live your life. I'm not letting my daughter go stay wherever you're staying or whoever you're staying with. Because you have a young girl. So
and then you have the pastor, and he obviously yeah. Okay. So you seem happy and free, and your daughter is absolutely gorgeous. I tried to get her to take dance with me. By the way, I do dance classes online.
It's gonna happen. When she's with me, she's about it. When she's with her mother, it's. But I got you.
Oh, okay.
As soon as we're gonna be with you online, getting your dance on. Matter of fact, I'll be physically ready. I'll be dancing with you too. Stop playing.
We love it. Playing. Okay, our last segment. Let's get into who you are as a vocalist. So, hit me. When did this start? When did you do your first album? How many albums have you done? Who have you worked with? Who would you want to work with? I'm excited to hear.
Okay. I recorded an entire album when I was signed to Elektra. I was signed to God, my mind just blanked on it. Vintertainment Elektra, which was Keith Sweat's label. At the same time, Sylvia Rhone was making all these major changes. So my album ended up getting stalled, and then eventually it just got put on the shelf. And ironically, if you listen to Luther Vandross, Any Love was on my album. And Marcus Miller was supposed to produce it, and it just never got to happen. So when they shelved my album, it went back to Luther, and Luther recorded it. So I don't even have. It's sad that I don't even have copies of those original masters. Those masters, things were taken from me. It's part of the business. You live and you learn. The only songs that I was able to get back were the ones that I wrote. And I, if I remember correctly, I was not allowed to release any of that music until 2001. So at that point, they all sound, because of contracts, because of labels, because of stupidity, because of the ugliness of the world. And then I found out that my attorney was doing some dirt behind my back that I didn't know about, but that's another story. God bless her. She's passed. Tanya Heidelberg, rest in peace. But it's part of the life. You live and you learn. So I started recording a new album just 2 years ago. I have half of it done. I'm talking to Corey Rooney and Mark Morales about finishing up the album. It's called the Tuffy Project, and it looks amazing and it feels amazing. And I'm still writing as we go. And I've given God the glory, and He's given me an entire premise for the album. So it's going to be amazing. 16 songs. I know they say don't do more than 10 because you can't do anything with the other 6 or anything above 10. But I'm doing 16 songs because it's not just the songs. It's my life, and it's my project. It's everything that's happened to me in my life. It's a beautiful project.
So I know we didn't plan on this, but Any Love is one of my favorite songs. Could you just a little, please?
I speak to myself sometimes, and I say, oh my, in a lot of ways, you're a lucky guy. Oh, and all I need is a chance to try. Any love, any love. Ooh, yeah. It was such a beautiful song, and it had a really beautiful a harp sound on it that was crazy. He didn't keep that. Marcus Miller made it this really over the top pretty song, and I loved it.
Okay.
And I wish Luther would have kept certain parts of it that he didn't. I mean, the horns were still there, but when he took that harp out, it changed the song to me. It was such a gorgeous song. So I was really excited. And then Marcus Miller is Marcus Miller, you know. Yes.
Okay, so Luther, who else did you have an opportunity to pretty much work with, or?
I mean, I sang on a bunch of back then. I sang on hip hop songs. I sang on Nice and Smooth's album. I sang on Big Daddy Kane's
Nice and Smooth. Oh, sorry.
I sang on that. I sang on Nice and Smooth is Funky. I sang on Hip Hop Freaks.
That just sounds funny. Okay.
I mean, Hip Hop Freaks. I sang a lot of background vocals for things that I have no clue if they came out.
Gotcha. Okay.
All kinds.
So going forward, who would you love, like the person to be like, oh my God, when my album, I want to invite this person. If I had the budget, I would invite this person. Who's that?
I would still love to work with Marcus Miller. I would love to work with John Williams. Is one of the dopest artists in the game. I love him. I mean, I'm still a Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis fan. I still love a lot of stuff they do. They can't do you wrong. Babyface will forever be one of the best writers in the game. So if I can get Babyface to do 1 or 2 songs, I would lose my mind.
So who do you compare your writing style to?
Wow. I've never been asked that question.
Because I'm fierce. Trying to tell you, manager Barbara.
If I could say I wrote like anybody, and this is probably a lie from the pit of hell, I love Stevie Wonder so much. So when I process my writing, I think like he thinks, just a little bit. I'm never going to say I'm Stevie Wonder, but I love Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder can put 37 words in one sentence and the phrase works. I'm not him, but I write that way. So I think I break it up differently. And I love the fact that, when you look at hip hop, Biggie and Guru, great lyricists who break up sentences so beautifully, and they take those 37 words and they space it. I love that. I love being able to do that. I love the fun of it. So I love hip hop.
I can't wait to hear your music. Can you give us an idea of when you think it might be ready to be released and done, so we can get a glimpse of Tuffy's world?
My plan is to release the first single right before spring. So it'll be done by end of January, but I'm saying that first single will be spring for sure.
Okay, so for the people that do not know how to get in touch with you, can you let them know how to find you so that when you do release it, they'll know?
My Instagram, social media seems to be everything. My Instagram is Tuffy, Tuffy, BX as in Bronx, NYC. And that's also my if you need me on Gmail, if you need to talk to me, or you want to be in a movie, or you want to do some casting, get in the game as an actor, TuffyBXNYC@gmail.com. You're more than welcome. I mean, I love giving anybody opportunity. Dawn, I will put you in a movie in a second. In a second.
I'm ready. I'll be on the private jet with you and Tracy and your daughter. Okay, so now we're down to our last bit of questions. This comes from someone from the audience, because guys, you were supposed to send me questions ahead of time. And Miss Gina Rivera from high school, she sent in a wonderful question. Miss Gina Rivera from the Boogie Down Bronx.
Hi, Gina.
She wants to know, Mr. Tuffy, if you are involved with any mentorship programs for the youth and for kids in the arts.
Ironically, I am doing. I'm actually. I have 3 interns who are mentors under my mentorship program called Power to Inspire. Right now, I was supposed to call all 3 of them today. One is in LA, so I'm still on time for that. The other 2 are in New York, so I'm a little late. But I am going to make phone calls. I love mentorship programs. Power to Inspire was created by Ray Chu from the Apollo, Ray Chu and the crew, the producer. As well as, oh, you better go ahead, Kevin. He just Power to Inspire. All right, girl. All right, boy. So Power to Inspire was created by Vivian Scott Chu and Ray Chu, and it's a beautiful situation. You can look it up. You can Google it. It's a beautiful mentorship program. There are so many great artists involved, and we have the greatest mentees in the game. Oh my God, I can't even begin to tell you. So I love that kind of stuff. So
Thank you for that. She also wants to know at what age or what level of not expertise, but when you start to place yourself into production companies and say, I want to work for them or intern with them, at what age or what, I don't know really what she's trying to say, but at what point in your career of study do you go ahead and enlist and try to get with a production company? I guess that's her question. Okay. Junior year, senior year, freshman year, like when do you start?
People start looking freshman year, but junior year is when we start looking at them. We may look at their freshman and sophomore year just to see what they become or how they got to where they're at. But junior year is when we start talking to them. So junior year, there are some very rare high school opportunities, but it's very rare because we only look at the programs. And then if we find students in those programs, we'll reach out and see what they're about. Then we'll keep an eye on.
All right. Well, I hope that helps her and anybody else listening. Like I said, a lot of my audience are in the business and they're younger and their parents are watching. And this is just, I love doing this because it's just another way. I'm a connector. I just love people. I like, hey, you know her? Come over here. I like helping people. So this is awesome.
You are building
and her last question is, how did you get the name Tuffy? Tuffy?
My grandmother is a very Southern woman. God bless her. She's no longer with us as well. But my grandmother was in delivery with my mom. And, the doctor smacks you on the bottom to get your response system going. And, next baby. So when they smacked me on the bottom, I did not move. I had my fist closed like this. I had my eyes closed. And my grandmother, a very Southern woman, she said, Connie, we have a little boxer on our hands. We have a little Tuffy. And the staff laughed. My mom laughed. And I started to squirm and I opened my eyes and looked at my grandmother first. And I've been Tuffy ever since.
Oh, I love that story. Thanks, Gina, for asking. That was a great question. Oh.
Thank you, Gina.
Yay. So at the close of this, is there anything that we haven't touched upon that you would like to share with us and your fans that are listening?
I would like to say giving glory and honor to my Lord and Savior. I am thankful that my mom and dad will be married 60 years next year. My daughter is 11, she'll be 12 in December. But I would like to say quarantine has been very difficult. If you are a parent, both single and with your spouse, check on our children because our children are going through things we don't understand. We cannot let social media and TV and YouTube control their thought process. We have to work harder as parents, be diligent to talk to our children, love on our children, and listen to our children. So my encouragement is do your part. Figure out what that is. Step into it and do it well. The only way to win is by being present. Be present.
That was wonderfully said. Thank you, Tuffy. Wow.
Thank you.
I love you, guys. I love you. I love you. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tuffy Questell. Thank you. Woo! Shout out. Audience goes wild. Ah, thank you, Mom, for having such a tough, wonderful, talented son. And big things. And I can't wait to get your album. And I can't wait to be in your next movie. And I guess if it's 11 o'clock, I might see you at D Nice.
Club Quarantine. I gotta say happy birthday to Maria Sokor. I gotta say thank you to everyone who watched this. I love y'all. God bless y'all. All the Libras in the house say
oh Libras, Capricorn, work it out. Tuffy,
Taurus,
I love you. Say hello to your beautiful daughter. You're so silly. And I'll see you soon. I love you. And guys, stay tuned for next week. We have a professor, Dr. Carla Lester from HBCU out here in Florida, Bethune-Cookman College. She is a professor of dance and theater. So all my dancers, you got to be online for that. Thank you, Tuffy. Love you, and I'll see you soon.
I can't wait.
Bye.
I love you.
Thank you, Kevin.